Hey, hello everybody. First of all, I want to give a huge shout out and a huge thank you to everyone here from Avalanche and everything. It's been an amazing week. Thank you. Thank you so much. Really, really cool. Yeah, well deserved clap. Here to talk to you about Deep Square. Deep Square is the tokenized cloud. Really, from my side, I'm vegetarian. A couple of you have noticed, but really, the green aspect of everything really matters. Yeah, and the fact that we're doing everything for the right reasons. Decentralized cloud. I was a little bit shocked when I heard about the AWS piece earlier on today, but really, of course, there is a better way of doing things and a different way of how cloud computing can be delivered and can be consumed. If we look at some of the problems, and if we think about the fact that 74% of the market is controlled by the big five players, but also that we really think about the fact that, in fact, most of Web3 runs on centralized cloud today. So, let's see. We can do better than that. So with this different cloud paradigm and changing the supply chain, the business and delivery models, we're building a grid, which we've seeded with 2 of our own clusters. We're building protocols on Avalanche, in fact, on an Avalanche subnet. So not only facilitating payment, but also facilitating transparency with compute, but also something else, which is called this meta-scheduler. A meta-scheduler is a decentralized way of matching an end customer need with infrastructure which is going to solve that for them. And also, we've been working on our cluster management platform since 2019. So what sets us apart from the sustainability? We provide a serverless experience to the end customer. I've already spoken a little bit about the intelligent workload distribution. This is super cost efficient, so approximately 1/3 of the cost for the end customer, so very interesting for them. We're focusing very much on supercomputing, like HPC, high performance computing tasks at the moment. So we deliver that supercomputer performance. So grid partners cannot join with just one gaming PC or something like that. It has to be a concentration of compute. And of course, bringing this fair and transparent pricing. Scaling this is super important part. And where are we now? We've built the platform, which we released and open sourced actually earlier this year. We've been working super hard on the integration with the blockchain. We have, as I said already, these 2 clusters that we've deployed. So they're the 2 that you see here. And we want to grow, of course, to 2030. And even the numbers here are only fractions of the market, as most of you know. That cloud will actually be a $1.9 trillion market by 2030. We're focusing today mainly on 2 use cases: training and deploying AI models. We come from data science. I myself actually come from hosting and cloud, so this is just another iteration of that for me. But we're also focusing on the building and hosting of games and metaverse. So one of the workloads that we support today is render streaming. Super interesting space. But then, of course, all the other HPC tasks, and then gradually we'll also include the general purpose compute. There's, of course, other players out there, people doing this. We have the centralized players on one hand, who are providing quite a lot of good capabilities, etc., but centralized in that way. And yes, they could pull the plug on somebody. They could decide that. But then we also have the decentralized players that are focusing on different areas in the market. But some of them are struggling for certain reasons. They don't accept the fact that people have a certain way of working today, and they're trying to change how they work. So by only accepting their own tokens, or by focusing, let's say, on certain types of workloads. I think you've seen a couple of pivots with some people like Akash and Kudos and iExec. Some of them are really struggling to onboard customers. So our focus has always been, we're building a product to be used here. So you don't become decentralized overnight, not with this kind of thing. So really from our side, from an infrastructure point of view, as I said, we've done this seeding ourselves, and we've actually got the ability to burst out to any cloud. And we want to have that real scale. That's the goal. So the transactions and transparency, this is about writing these transactions to the blockchain. And this meta scheduler that I mentioned, today it has a fairly simple algorithm, and that is going to become more intelligent as time goes by. And governance. Well, today we've got the custodial decisions being made by the management team and by the board. But in future, and we have already started organizing working groups, and it really should be a complete DAO over time. So, again, we're based in Switzerland. We founded as an association on purpose in Zug last year. We closed our first private sale last year as well. This year, we've been really focused on building. I've mentioned the cluster factory, the cluster management software already. We've closed our second private sale, and we are closing, or we're raising with the third private sale this year. And then by 2025, that gives you an idea of what we're looking for. So the figures, the average spend of an end customer today in this space, and I know people can confirm, is around 4K per month. And that gets us to that level of 52 million in 2025. We've got the pleasure of partnering with many great people. Outlier Ventures deserve a shout out, Primal Capital deserve a shout out, White Loop Capital, but also some other great people that we're working together with. The team, it's a real mix, diverse, not in the fact that there's a lot of white men, but diverse in the different skills and the different things people bring to the table. So, you know, I myself, as I said, hosting in cloud. Florin, my co-founder, is a doctor of robotics and exoskeleton and lots of other things, crazy guy. We have then real solid people from a banking background, that's Mark. Lilo has built an 8 megawatt data center with his own hands, with 40,000 GPUs mining. Maya comes from B2B marketing. You know, Charlie is a real builder. And then Arno is heading up the business development. He's quite classic, but this is good. So it also keeps us grounded. That means we're focusing on building the actual business underneath. So in total, we've got 16 who are full-time, and then we've got 10 people who are part-time. And we try to complement this with some good advisors. You'll also notice that Dr. Vivian Kema from Protocol Labs down there, who's helping us with the consensus algorithms. So we have a total combined supply. As I mentioned previously, today we're raising 2.4 million on top of the 3.2 that we've raised already in this private sale. We are reserving some tokens. Hopefully, we will have the pleasure of also launching on a certain launch pad as well, which would be amazing. Not looking at anyone in particular. But yes, indeed. So, you know, just really anyone who'd like to have a chat or any questions, please, very happy to answer them. Thank you.
Minutes for questions.
Okay. Or we just listen to some good music. That's great. Thank you all. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. The compute itself happens off-chain. That's very important, yeah. So the decentralized elements are, of course, the validation, so the actual transparency, so the actual transactions, and also this decentralized meta scheduler, so the matching, the fair matching, and looking after the network of a job so that it does the best for the network and for everyone.
And how do you ensure that a node provides the amount of, or like the desired amount of compute that's being paid for?
Excellent question. So first of all, we have what's called a supervisor running on every cluster, which essentially is reporting the status and also writing those transactions. But also we are working on today this proof of compute. So being able to send anonymous tasks to each cluster, small tasks so it's not a burden on the network, in order to validate, does it fall within those parameters? So is it fair what they're doing? They will never know that they are indeed test tasks or performance challenging tasks.
And if somebody cheats, do you slash them?
Absolutely, absolutely. So every one of them has to stake 25,000 of our tokens in this regard, and absolutely, yeah. Yes.
Who do you want to go to market with this to? Who are like very
The
both need this and are excited about the decentralized aspect?
Actually, that's not what we're counting on, that people are excited about it. We're counting on the fact that people are pissed off with AWS, which is the general consensus, right? And the fact is that we're focusing today on those AI workloads. There are people who have that demand, and it's a need that we meet today. We provide the applications that they can consume. But of course, we're also focusing on the Web3 type of scenarios too, especially with metaverse, seeing as it's real high performance computing which is needed to make it a reality.
And you mean that these are like, I don't know, small gaming studios, these are like AI startups?
AI startups and scale-ups, yeah. And there's actually a wealth of them, and AI and the demands for those workloads are growing, yeah.
All right, that's it.
Okay. Thank you all.